Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and this is EVE Online. It began with a surprise attack against ships and structures owned by players, and perhaps one of the most surprising aspects of this was that the source of the attacks was an NPC faction known as Drifters. At this point, EVE Online is well known for intrigue, conflict and yes, even drama created between players. Political conflict between players is something that EVE generates in abundance, and many of you will no doubt have read many of these stories like this in the gaming press over the years. PvE, on the other hand, in EVE has been more or less a muted affair, and if that's an understatement, we can at least go with the fact that EVE-related PvE stories rarely make the gaming press news. All of that changed, however, with the arrival of the Drifters, which in turn caused quite some significant troubles for the player base. Now, the Drifters shouldn't be confused with an entirely separate invasion which is also occurring within EVE. This other invasion is the focus of the latest expansion, aptly titled Invasion. Here, a mysterious faction known as the Triglavian Collective are invading populated systems, and players are encouraged to fight the invasions off. The Drifters, meanwhile, have been showing up in more remote areas of space known as nullsec. This space, outside the remit of NPC authorities, where players are largely allowed to do what they want, when they want. Nullsec then is a lawless zone. Well, at least that's the theory. When I began playing EVE Online all the way back in 2003, Nullsec was the most remote of regions, dangerous, hostile, and you never really knew what you were going to get. Zip forward 1.5 decades and players have tamed this frontier. Alliances now exist between the largest player-run corporations. These massive player-run groups have all laid claim to multiple star systems. Borders have been drawn up and agreements put in place. In short, player-run corporations tend to keep to their own space. Peace is the norm then, rather than the exception. Although of course, epic levels of intrigue and war between players still exist, but peace is nonetheless extremely widespread. Enter the Drifters, an NPC group which cannot be bargained with. They cannot be reasoned with. They apparently are not interested in borders or treaties. They just want to blow your stuff up. And they are very, very good at doing this. Naturally, this has caused some controversy among the player base, particularly amongst those who feel that this PvE has been enforced upon them and is forcing them to change their playstyle. Now, this really is an interesting parallel to the years where I was extensively playing EVE myself, and back then players would outcry against enforced PvP. The term Care Bear was thrown about quite a lot then, so it really does seem that the boot is on the other foot now. Now, if this seems bad enough for those players who just want to live in peace, well, unfortunately for them, it doesn't end there. You see, the Drifters have attacked the in-game communications network, or at least they have done this within the terms of the law that CCP have established. CCP recently gave a 48 hours notice that this attack would lead to a communications blackout across nullsec space. That 48 hours is now up and the blackout is in effect. But how does this affect the game? Well, that's both extremely simple and extremely complex. The effect is very simple in terms of gameplay. The local chat window, which shows all the visible players within any particular star system, shows the avatar icon of any players that are actually there. Now, this will no longer show players in the system, at least not until the players reveal themselves by talking or typing in the chat box. So it all sounds pretty simple, right? But the complex side of this is the effect it's going to have on player-run space. Now, over the years, the player-run corporations, have maintained security within their nullsec systems by policing them and chasing off any players that shouldn't be there. Up until now, it's always been very simple to know when another player is intruding into your star system, as their avatar appears in the local chat window the moment they warp into the system. This new Blackout, or as it's known in EVE, the delayed mode chat, will change all of this. Now, this functionality isn't new to EVE, it's how another area of space known as wormhole space has functioned for years. However, it's a massive change for nullsec. It will be a huge shake-up. Corporations will now be able to invade other corporations' space. Treaties will be harder to uphold. Bottom line, the change fosters an environment of paranoia, and this is perfect for re-establishing the player intrigue that has always existed within EVE. As it stands right now, players will be figuring out what this means for the game. No one knows how long this blackout, this delayed mode chat, will be in effect. It may be a temporary change, or it may be a permanent one. All CCP have said is that they will be monitoring things. All in all, this is a very clever and also a very bold move by CCP. Delayed mode chat is something that a large number of players have been asking for years, but CCP have always resisted. They now have introduced this change potentially in the form of a trial, and by using the NPC-driven story event no less. It's very smart and very effective. It's a curated story run by CCP that is having a very real effect on the game world, and it all means something very fundamental to the players whose area of space this actually affects. It's certainly going to be very interesting then to see how this all pans out over the next few days and weeks. If you'd like to discuss this, or indeed any other game-related subject, then why not head over to my Discord channel, which you can find at discord.gg/obsidianand. I look forward to seeing you there. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.